7.5, 0, 6.5, 6. It's not an option, but what 8 cents. So it's hard we're spending 2-3 months in there, you know.
Right there. And there's a meeting. So he's that happy, that was like the interstate. I stayed far away from that.
All right, it is 7 o'clock. If everybody would rise for the pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Roll call.
Boskee.
Here.
Terry. Here. Fountain here. Lance.
Here.
Dreier.
Here.
Ivory.
Here.
Bales. Here.
Anybody present and accounted for? Anybody have any opening comments? Get a little reprieve from the heat wave in a couple of days. I guess that's a good comment. Approval of tonight's agenda and the meeting minutes of July 14th. Is there any additions, corrections, deletions, or otherwise? Hearing none, what's the board's pleasure?
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda and the minutes from last meeting.
Support.
Motion been made and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor of the motion, signify by aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Next is approval of payment of your bills. Payment of the bills. The bills in your packet came out of $60,432.79. Talk about it. What's more pleasure? Comments?
I'll make a motion. Support.
Motion's been made and supported. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll have a roll call vote.
Bales. Yes. Boskee.
Yes.
Terry. Yes. Fountain, yes. Lintz.
Yes.
Dreier.
Yes.
Ivory.
Yes.
Motion is carried. Correspondence? Do you have any correspondence to bring to the board? Moves us down to reports. Couple of reports. Greenwood Cemetery Board, which should come up for any audience members that do not know, is part owner of Greenwood Cemetery along with Hadley. We are having our meeting as per the charter back in the 1800s. Also, this meeting to be held at the cemetery in August. It will be August 14th at 4 p.m. If those would like to attend that. Parkland, I attended the Parkland meetings last Wednesday and Thursday. I am now the vice chair of the Parkland. Insurance, following on that, at our renewal back at the beginning of June, was somewhat, I guess, mentioned to us or whenever we got some further, Rena got an email, and I did a little follow up with it. Not the car plan, but our agency is now offering dental, vision, accidental, term life, those sort of things. Long-term, short-term disability. Clearly not a benefit that's provided by the township, but we are going to set up a meeting originally with the key players, for example, the fire chief and myself, learn a little bit more about it, and then if, for example, the fire department would like to, their members, if Chief Burke decides that's something their membership would be interested in, they can have a subsequent meeting with the insurance agents concerning that. If there's anybody who is interested from this board in attending that Q&A with I'll send out that date to everybody. So if you'd like to attend that, you know, prior to this sort of formal presentation. Lapeer Improvement Board, as a reminder, just in the previous meeting, we have a vacancy for the Elba Township rep. I do have a couple of parties that are potential that nobody has stated, in fact, yes, I want to be on the board. We got to that process, so if anybody knows anybody explain what the criteria for that board is and see if we can get represented.
Have you talked to anybody on the board to see if they had any?
Yes, talk to, on Lake Association board, so I have talked to Lake, see, you know.
I'm just wondering if the Lake Association board might have somebody that.
The Lake Association has membership on it, because they have a representative.
Right, but they might have another candidate that, or a couple of them.
That's the earned sick time act. As you know, that went into effect in February, and as we guessed, there's gonna be modifications and so forth to that. In our township insights that came out, MTA now has to do, and Peter was over and off some laws and so forth, that was in the details. But now, for example, where MTA and last I went in March, and their interpretation was the fire department, for example, was under that, we have to provide for that, and we get like from the get-go, so our paperwork and our policies are in place. Now the terminology is that they're generally exempt from that. In addition to like our township parks employee, our planning commission, those sort of things, now they're saying that they are exempt from ESTA and its requirements. So it's like anything else is continues to evolve, more involvement form, but we didn't even make it 6 months out when we're going to change, but I anticipate it was going to happen. The only other thing I would say is that it's been really busy with building questions. Seems to be a lot of people interested in buying property in the township and have questions regarding setbacks, what they can do with. And then also, at the time of this meeting, had a fair amount of questions on sewer taps and if this property with vacant parcels are served or not. And so kudos to Treasurer's Office and Jack for that researching, because it quite often goes right back to the original, you know, we had the expansion and the map assessment and so forth. So, I don't know, things kind of going, ebb and flow, and it seems to be on a high note right now. Go ahead, anybody have any questions, comments? Now we move down to Treasurer's report.
I was really busy last week because Jackie was on vacation, so I was the only one in the office. Just taking payments. I did the first payout for summer disbursement and the delinquent personal property payout on the 16th. So all those accounts are down, back down. And right now I'm just working on audit paperwork and paperwork presentation for this summer.
Anybody have any questions? Clerk's report.
I was unable to get the second bid for a grant for the front door, so I can apply for that, and we also have the Davis election in November.
Other school questions? All of that were the one failed and they're. Anybody have any questions? Planning commission.
Stonegate, got pushed right until next month. Due to the fact the owners aren't here, they requested it. Other than that, we worked on some language for, the barn, the event barns. The health department wanted some language that they in there for them, so we hashed it out. We're gonna get it to the general board later with a big pack, I believe,
We got
we're working on
the list of.
problems.
Any questions? Fire chief.
Both the fireworks displayed fine, like Nipsey and Lapeer, no problems. We've been fairly busy this month. Unfortunately, they've all been small, and we haven't had to deal with the
County commissioner.
Yes, sir. A couple of questions with your experience. Let's come up there and do this thing, or is it okay if we sit here? Mike speaks loudly, it first reverberates through the whole room, so hopefully I can do the same. The other question is there a possibility that that we can get email copies to the agenda before the meetings.
We have a cleaner.
It's online.
Yeah, okay. I know it's online, but a lot of times it'd be nice if we could get those. But anyway, I'll start out with some of the boring stuff here, that we done at the last full board meeting here, just a week ago. We terminated contracts with Facilities 360, which is for janitorial services at the complex. We ran into a lot of problems with these folks. And they just weren't doing what they said they're going to do at their first showing in our facility. So we decided to terminate that agreement. We went through corporate counsel and looked at our options there, and we were able to say, hey, we're going to terminate those agreements. And to follow up on that, we approved 3 agreements for contracts with RWK, which is known as Lapeer Janitorial Services at the county complex, health department, and annex building. So we have an agreement with this company that it's different from what we'd agreed to originally. It just didn't work out for us, unfortunately. So we're going to move forward on that. So next to that, we authorized Central Dispatch to proceed with command communications to upgrade radios to meet the CJIS encryption standards at a cost not to exceed $320,000 paid for 911 village. Saves us a lot of money. I mean, just the cost for replacing these radios originally was in excess of $2 million. So listen, whoever was responsible for that did a great job. So it's a good thing, and we saved a ton of money here. So I'm very happy about us moving forward with that. We approved Lapeer County several initiatives with the vehicle GPS tracking policy, the mileage reimbursement, vehicle accident reporting policy, county vehicle use policy. So we approved, we did some amendments to that and changed all those policies here so they're going to reflect what our needs and priorities are in regards to those issues there. We also authorized Central Dispatch to proceed with Motorola Solutions to upgrade the dispatch consoles to meet the CJIS encryption standards at a cost of $22,425. That's also paid out of the 911 village. So this Wednesday we have a meeting at 10 a.m. at the county courthouse. It is open to the public, followed up by closed sessions. This has to do with a settlement agreement that we have in a class action lawsuit that's been ongoing for some time here. It's Fox versus Isabella County foreclosure DTR case. What that is in the past, when we go through the whole foreclosure proceeding, there's a lawsuit because of foreclosures and the monies that were collected from the counties across the entire state here. All the money went to the county. So what happened is that there was a lawsuit saying that, hey, the people that are the holders of those properties are entitled to a portion of that property that exceeds the amount of expense that was associated with trying to resolve those issues here in the tax foreclosure. So it's a closed section, so our attorneys can brief us on how that affects our budget. And so that meeting is at 10 a.m. followed by that closed session on Wednesday. And so anybody is welcome to come and speak at that. And then we go to closed session to kind of discuss that. And we'll follow that up with the authority to act in the committee of the whole meeting at our August committee of the whole meeting to approve that. And that settlement here, and that was for the settlement paid out to DTR, which is the Diluted Tax Revenue Fund here. So that's what I wanted to come from. We don't know what that amount is, so we're getting briefed on that and fill under that on what liability it is for our county, and then we'll vote on whether we approve that to the whole meeting authority act at that meeting. So it was a process that's been going on, like I say, for a long time. So there will be a liability for us in our DTR fund. We just don't know how much that is, and that kind of is because it's across the entire state of Michigan here. So I kind of had a feeling, because this has been an ongoing discussion and an issue here for some time, here, I don't think anybody's followed that, but that's kind of where we stand on that issue. We also are moving forward. On Friday, we began the process of securing a bond for the CMH, the new CMH building. They were provided with our bylaws, articles of incorporation, along with board meeting minutes and preliminary drawings for this facility here. So we'll move forward with the process of securing that bond. And the bond, of course, will cover the expense of that building. I have no idea how much it's going to cost. And my personal opinion is it's going to be very expensive because it's a large building. And a huge expense is probably going to be excessive. $8 million, maybe more than $10 million by the time it's all said and done. Trudewski Park, we are really having some issues out there. We have a company that, this company here, Emerald Pools FX. So when we originally contracted with Frank Weirall to do this project out at Trudewski Park, we hired these contractors. Well, the pool contractor, which is this company, Emerald Pools FX, that's we're just a subcontractor for the contractor in the park, made some representations that we're going to put our pool in, do the shell, put the rebar in, pour the concrete and all that, and they've been kind of kicking the can down the road for some time and stringing us along. We looked at options of trying to pretty much 86's company, and they kind of came back to us and said that they can get it done. They're telling us right now that they can't get to it, and they said that they can have it done by April, May of next year. My personal opinion, being on the properties committee, is that that's probably something, another empty promise that probably can't be fulfilled. So it really puts us at risk of getting Trudewski Park open the first parts of next year. This was something that was supposed to have happened already. That park was supposed to be open and completed by now. But those A1A contracts that we signed and agreed to with the companies, really, other than the bonds that give us the authority to, give us the option to go after them for some of these expenses, and non-performance agreements here really don't have a whole lot of teeth in them. So those discussions are ongoing. We're going to talk about those more. I'm really concerned that if we allow this company to move forward and do that, that we're not going to even, we risk not even open next summer, which is unsatisfactory. I really have a big problem with that. I'd like to, when we talk about this at our next properties committee meeting here, find out what our options are. We've had some preliminary discussions on what we can and can't do. It's really kind of out of our hands because they're a subcontractor for the contractor. And so it's very contentious, and I hope we can find some resolution to this, because there's just nobody out there that can do this job. And so we're very limited in our options right now. So that's kind of where it stands. So we do face the risk of not being able to open Trudewski Park next spring, maybe in the middle of the summer. But that also lends to additional issues and concerns and problems that relate to employees and getting the park open. And people, the park only stays open for the summer, so we lose half of the summer. We all understand the issues we have with finding employees and getting people to come to work. And a lot of these are younger people that come to work for us as like guards and concession people and people in the park. So I hope we don't go down that path and we can find some sort of resolution to this. But at this time, that's all the information I have in this. And but it is a concern, and I just want to make everybody aware of that. Animal control, we have finally got the helical piers installed. There was a problem with the foundation. They dug down and they did some soil borings, and they went down 13 feet and found a foundation down there, a slab of concrete that was pretty good size, 12, 14 feet by 20 feet. Apparently, I don't know where it would come from, other than a foundation for a facility that was there at one time in the past. Maybe it goes back to Stonehenge. I don't really know, So anyway, we got through that, we got the helical piers, this is covered under our contingencies for the cost, which is a little over it's around $2.3 million for this project. So we finally got past that, they put the helical piers, we had to put a grade beam in. It cost us a lot of extra money, but like I said, it is covered at this point under contingency. We pretty much ate up all our contingencies, so hopefully we don't run into any problems moving forward with completing the improvement of that building, the addition and the addition and remodeling of the existing facility out there, which is a great project, by the way. So now we're not looking at opening this facility up until December this year, when we originally anticipated and hoped that we'd have it open by the end of October, 1st of November. So we are moving forward with that, making progress, and I hope that was something. Hope that's something that we can run. It seems like everything vertical from there is pretty simple, and contractors on it. We have a great contractor, we have a great architect, and I think the process will go smoothly, and we will be able to get that facility here. On that issue, with animal control, there was a big controversy about the euthanization of animals. It was simply a statement made during commissioner time by one of our 7 commissioners about a 30-day euthanization, and it kind of went to social media and got out of control and grew its own life. And everybody thought that we were actually voting on a policy. There never was a policy, it was never discussed, it's not even on our docket in any of our committees and all, but it is a concern that we have about how we're going to fund animal control. Obviously, we are giving them the resources that they need to have. We're giving them a $2.3 million facility to move forward. I think Stephanie King's doing an awesome job at animal control and her employees, but a lot of people showed up last meeting to speak publicly. It was very respectful, a lot of decorum, and ideas being thrown around. So we filled up 2 rooms. I think one of them had 70, the other had 75 people in it, and then there were people in the hallway also. So it's a very passionate issue, and I agree. I love animals. I'm not in favor of euthanizing animals. I think that collectively with the community, we can find a solution to try to resolve this issue going forward. But like I said, it's not even an issue right now. It just was a comment made by a commissioner, and somebody said that, put it out on social media, and everybody's under the impression, hey, this is something they're voting on, and that was never the case. So I think we put that to rest for now, but I think looking at all the involvement and concern and passion there is in the community over animals, that we can find a solution collectively. We have some great animal shelters and facilities that are in and outside our community that can maybe deal with some of the issues with animals that are quote unquote unadoptable or just not wanted. They might be vicious to some degree, and people just say, hey, these are not family pets. We really don't want to become a nursing home for animals in their perpetuity or to the day that they die. It is a cost to our community and to the taxpayers here, but I think we can find a solution for that. So that did get brought up. It's going to be discussed here. It's probably going to be something that's going to be ongoing here. But at this point in time, there's nothing in our any of our committees or that's being discussed in administration or amongst our board of commissioners here in regards to trying to come up with a policy for dealing with these animals here. So personally, I just wanted to let you know that I'm in full support of protecting animals, and I don't want to see animals euthanized after 30 days. I don't want to see them euthanized after 30 days. I think we can find a common solution and protect a lot of these animals. Of course, we're an Oakville facility, there are many in the state of Michigan, and I think we can find a common solution to kind of get to an end game here that everybody's going to be satisfied with. The other things, we have some proposals being thrown around about remodeling the court complex, the bathrooms in particular on all 3 levels of the court complex. They're 40 years, 50 years old. I think some of them are okay, so we're going through a process right now to figure out how we're going to try to remodel these bathrooms, and, as it parlays into an issue that, for our new floor plan, where we want to redo the floor plan of the courthouse to accommodate the court system, and particularly the prosecutor and the facilities that are in there. So it's going to be a reshuffle. We may end up moving, and this is going to be down the road quite a ways, at least 2-3 years, moving our chambers over to the annex buildings across the street. To free up some space downstairs, and but then it comes with the cost. Until we know what the cost is, I think it's going to be kind of high. I'm going to be paying close attention to that because it's going to come through our properties committee, and we're going to take a close look at how much that's going to cost, and that's one of the big concerns that I have. But if we can spread that out and find a way to pay for that with what we have already, I think it's something that we can do. It does provide savings for us in the long run. That's pretty much all I have. Unless anybody has any questions.
I have a question.
Yes.
The CMH building, is that going into where it was?
No, that's the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services building. They're taking that facility over because they're moving from the Suncrest building that we have over there, so to free up space for the community mental health system, which needs the extra space for some of those projects. We're using the, what's that facility over there, Maple Grove? That's closing down. That building, I think, from what I've heard, this is just what I've heard, there's no fact of this yet, is that is sold to somebody, and the school owns that, ISD owns it, and they have a buyer for it, but, it has a lot of issues. It leaks, the HVAC units don't work, it's a terrible building. What they wanted for it was just something that didn't make a whole lot of sense to us financially, so for CMH, this has been discussed for the past few years, probably before I became a commissioner in 2022, to do something with CMH. But so we're going to take over I think it's a 10,000 square foot facility that Michigan, Department of Health and Human Services had over there. They only have like 7 or 8 employees that occupy the space, so that the old Rite Aid or whatever it was facility is probably more appropriate for them. And that's where they're going. So that'll free up space for some of the programming for CMH. And then the other facility will give them the ability to put programs in there they don't have space for right now. And move people out of the health department area and get them over there and free some space up. So that's pretty much where we're at with it right now. So.
Thank you.
Any other questions? All right, we'll go down GLTA.
The only thing I would like to report is that we did drive for the fair. We were the shuttle for the fair both Friday night and Saturday. Friday night was kind of a bust. Saturday, the drivers were very
All right, brings us down to our first agenda item, Lake Neptune Sewer User Fee Review. We started this 2016, I believe. Doing our review in January. Prior to that, there was no review. Kind of went along, and I would say that prior to that, for the preceding, for 30 years, they operated in the red. Neither one of those are good things. So we established it with some consistency, so the residents around Lake Neptune knew what time of year this comes about. That's what we're here to discuss tonight. The clerk has done a good job here and has it up on the television screen. There's copies also back in the back for residents. Breaks down the 2024 ops and maintenance for the system. Billing, payroll, chargebacks, billables, buybacks, bond payment. Total cost to operate the system, $255,119.49. Current REU is $180 per REU per quarter. How many total REUs there are? 376.8. REUs, user fees collected at that 180 for 4 quarters, total $271,296, which means that we took in $16,176.51 more than we spent. Good thing. Depreciation costs, according to our accountant, is $152,000, which is equal to 101 per REU per quarter. So you can do the math. Right now we are doing the absent maintenance. We're not putting away for depreciation. That would be another $101.11 per REU for this particular case. I'm down $1.84.
That top one should have been
100.84. The gain per REU is $10.73. So when you break it down, that's $16,176.51 equated to $10.73. And for anybody who doesn't remember, an REU is a residential equivalency unit. If you have a house, it doesn't matter whether you have 2 people and you are snowbirders, this is what you pay. The only people who would pay more is if it's a duplex or businesses, and businesses are operated on the state formulation in calculating the REUs. We do this, our ordinance for Lake Nepsing and Potter's Lake is the same. Makes it very simple for us, but we are also beholden in the Potter's Lake system to treatment with Genesee County. So rather than have differences in the absent maintenance and the policies of, we have one consistent, so phase 1, phase 2, Potter's Lake, and Lake Nepsing, they're all the same. That formulation in REUs dictates in commercial developments how many REUs are going to be for that project. It is the type of use and dependent on the use. Professional office may be the type of use and the number of employees and parking spaces. A bar restaurant may be the type of use multiplied by the square footage, etc. So there are commercial, whether it's whether it's the country club, there's the partnership, the school on Grandin Road, all of those come to mind as being an additional REUs, substantially 9, 10, 11 REUs. So their bill would be 9, 10, 11 times what the residents. That's it in a nutshell, how we got to that. Anybody on the board, do you have any comments, questions? Thoughts? I will say that the last 2 years have been bumpy sledding for the system in a couple of different ways. One, last year we had Waldorf stepping back to trying to retire. We had a company that took over that to say that they were a fiasco would be put in mildly. And quite honestly, they cost the system a lot of money and a lot of equipment. Through my tenure prior to Waldorf, we had issues, both in the absent maintenance with the residents and their treatment of and so forth. We got things under control with Waldorf, and we took in that 3 months a step back substantially with the interim company. For those that potentially weren't here, this is last year's news. We are now 1 year in with the new. The other company decided that it was in their best interest to quit before we fired them. Requested the meeting, and they just sent me a text and said, we can't do this, which was not understandable. that kind of left us a little bit in the lurch. And we went back to the drawing board, and Waldorf was our primary ops and maintenance, but we always had, and referred to her as our mad scientist, Beth Eldridge, and her company. And they did all the analytics. They're the ones that do all the state reporting. They're actually the ones who do the application for our discharge permits. They're the ones that do any sort of reporting to the state if we have leaks or otherwise, our mad scientists. Beth's company actually worked with, they never worked for another company, for the company prior to Waldorf. When Waldorf took over, she stayed on that position, and then when the bad company continued to stay in that position. After they were leaving, had some meetings with, and in a nutshell, Waldorf is back, but not for the day-to-day. Beth's company now does that. It's called Easy Operations. They have expanded their services. They do other sewer systems, Richmond, and so forth, the ops and maintenance. So they're doing the day-to-day, the initial emergency call-outs. Waldorf would still be the ones who come out and do any sort of excavating, any sort of digging, and a lot of the other type things. Waldorf actually still does all of the lift station, ops and maintenance. Easy Operations does not do that. So it has been, in the past year, a learning curve for both of those. How are the new rules? In addition to that, we have had just repair type issues. Believe it or not, the preceding company in a new install, a new home, brand new. They managed to burn up 4 grinder pumps, brand new grinder pumps. That costs money. That's wasting money. We had, for the first time in my history, this goes toward the depreciation, we had 2, every lift station has 2 pumps. Redundancy. Well, guess what? They both went out in the lift station. And we had to replace those, but any lift pumps. They are more expensive than the individual grinder pumps by far. Nothing else, you have cranes to lift them out and so forth. So all that being said, the preceding 12 months has not been good for the sewer system at all. And the fact that we were still able to come out into the black is incredible, in my opinion. The other thing that I want to say to the audience, and then also we have 2 more years of bond deals, we have 29 and 30. It's hard to pick. We have Potter's Lake, we got Lake Nelson, we got these different ones. So, Potter's Lake, we have
The 07 is Potter Lake.
we have a Lake Nelson for the west of the rehab.
Yeah.
Because that went in either 2009, 2010.
Yeah.
So it's less than 29 as that goes on. So from the system standpoint, we're doing the budgeting for 25-26, and 2029 we will no longer be making bond payments for the expensive installation and everything else for that. So my seeing 20,000. I'm happy that we're still in the black. Any board members have any questions, comments? No?
The only thing is, everything goes up, so my only concern is if we don't put some away, for future possible repairs. I mean, as the system ages, things happen, is the only thing. I mean, I do agree, it was, we have had a good year with Waldorf and not being, but, is that better? Well, but it was much better than what we had in Fisher.
Oh,
So, as far as cost and everything is what, I'm not saying about the thing, but as far as cost for any repairs that we have to do, has Walter let us know, because I know they wanted to back out. I mean, are they still going to be in this for the long haul?
Yes, this negotiation that I had, Waldorf, the principals were wanting to retire, so it's the next generation taking over was the problem. And while the parents are happy with passing on, it's also their retirement. They're not just turning over a $18, $19 million company over to the next generation without anything. So this meeting where they switched roles, that next generation was in attendance, and we hashed out everything from lawn maintenance to mowing around, the lagoons to, and that's how they came up with this. They do the lift stations, so that next generation is happy as well. And that's where my communications are through. The aging of the system, we were hit with the 2 lift station pumps this year. We have 3 lift stations for the Lake City sewer system. 1 has previously been done, not at the same time. We did both of them basically within a month. This time, we have 1 more. So we have that out there. That's doable. I mean, we just take care of that with, what we have just in the access here. The bigger issue that I have is we have 2 lagoons, 2 main lagoons, west and east lagoon, we have a north lagoon. The west lagoon was brand new in 2009-ish. We went, I don't know, and then in 2009, it was completed in 2010. At the same time, we did a complete clean out of the east lagoon. Those are our major lagoons. They are the largest capacity. We're sitting good with those. They have a life expectancy of sludge buildup. The enzyme ZPAD is the board recalls. For a few years, we were doing what I refer to as the bio treatment in the North Lagoon. The North Lagoon is the smallest lagoon. That is primarily the intake, and we do have sludge buildup in there that we're monitoring. It is a much smaller lagoon, so the clean out of that would be a fraction of the cost, even with the increased cost just due to the inflation and otherwise. Except the state now is doing away with the land applications, which is how we've done it previously. The city of Lapeer, and where we have in that project budgeted, for that, the East Lagoon and the West Lagoon, they were in that. The contractors were really happy to find the local farmers here in Lapeer County, and so it greatly reduced our cost. Now the requirement is a special landfill or the incineration. And I have no idea what that cost is going to be. My point of that is going to come. It's like a roof, it has a life expectancy. There's going to be a point where that needs to be cleaned up. And that's going to be an expense, and that expense is going to be much greater than $16,000. So to your point. Anybody else? All right, with that being said, I've done this previously. It's not on the agenda, it's not how we do, but I will open the floor up for the public to speak strictly on this issue. So if you are on Lake Neptune and you want to speak on this issue before the board takes action one way or the other, we'll treat it like a normal public time. State your name and address, tell me what's on your mind. This is strictly for Lake Neptune. So, anybody? Yes, ma'am.
Darlene Rance, 3554 Wedgewood Drive. Are we keeping this at 180 now?
That's what we're deciding.
Or-
We don't know, we haven't voted. That's what this meeting is for.
Okay.
Anybody else? All right, I'll close this public portion then and bring it back to the board for discussion and resolution.
Jackie and I went over this earlier. We We haven't had an increase since 2022, it went from 160 to 180, so it's a $20 increase. We mapped out if we wanted at $5 per quarter, so it would be 185. You only have one RV with, there's 4 people that have one RV. So go to 185 from 180, that would be a $20 increase per year, which would give us a gain of 75.36. That wouldn't be raising a lot. Right now, it's like $195 per day, that would be $2 per day. Keep us from having to raise it a lot next time. That's not a motion, it's just for discussion. Nobody wants to raise it. That's a lot.
Anybody else? Comments?
I guess the only thing is, in years past, quite a bit, there used to be a lot of money in there. And because of not raising the, rates, then that money was whittled away year after year after year, to be at this point. So, and my concern with that is the people that were using it at that time were not having to pay to keep that going at that point, to keep that cushion in there to be able to do all the repairs. So if we don't do any kind of raise, to me, we're gonna have the same thing that happens, the people right now that are using it, that are needing to have that, the services done, and like you said, the extra. It is aging, things are gonna happen, and the more people, we know historically by the reports and everything. So to me, I don't think we have to go crazy, but I do feel that, it is something that we need to make sure that we're not, it would be great not to have another bond in 2 years, but at the end of the day, who knows if there's not something, that we would end up having to do to be able to fund it in a different way.
No question, spot, obviously, do you ever pay with that bond? Didn't question the spot.
It's here, 34,600. 34,600.
There you go.
68.
Be impressed. So, yeah. For that, and all things being considered, it was an equal amount. That's how it should be per year. Much smaller in comparison to the $165,000 property for population. Well, small amount, this is for the investment.
This is the next one.
Using these. Because it was a weekend. It was not a news, it was a weekend. Anybody else?
That's Cedar for like I'm seeing does really well. We got 4.6%, and I locked up for 6 months at a time now, so we're able to get into it first emergency. There's 106, and some of these other in the seats. I feel a lot better about the rest of the highway.
Yeah, we get to this, broach on.
I do agree, a couple of those need to go up, but maybe still a lot.
I guess my only concern, and I don't have the exact numbers, at one point, I do believe it, there was over $1 million in there. So, that's my thing, is that when things didn't cost as much, I understand, things are relative, but, now, again, the new air conditioning unit on my bus went from 42,000 to 12,500. So, I think we just have to be mindful of that there's nothing that is inexpensive. I mean, even at the dollar store, it went from $1.25 to $1.75. So,
It wasn't quite that much between the litigation and the other vote that you're still in the $700,000 range. And they just went over that job. They went 30 years without any rate increase at all. 30 plus years. So, in addition to just. All right, what's the board's pleasure? And for this, just so you know, that further on, we have a resolution with our ordinance and so forth, and it is inclusive of building wise.
You said $5 per quarter, you said $5,000.
Under. Too many zeros on that.
$7,536.
It is at the 1676. We have almost 24,000, 23,700.
No, and that's where we're behind, because for 30 years, not only were they not putting any more depreciation, they were in the red, they were negative spending, they were taking money out of the bank. We should have $1 million in the bank, because that $700,000, actually more than that, should have been in the bank gaining interest for now going on 40 plus years.
The reports are coming there. This is the rate increase throughout time. Since 2010, which is when I finished the year, about where
It was the same rate in 29 and 2000, 1995, 1990. So there is no way, I don't know the maximum, but there's no way that we would, the maximum amount to make up for the depreciation, because we're behind, the maximum amount would be $270.11.
That's not to make up for lost time.
That's our, not to
To make up
that would
for
be
1 year.
to put us on track, that's what
Yes.
yeah, we're never making back.
No. And that's not what I think anybody's looking to do, but I just, it's,
That's the maximum.
right, right.
So what, everybody clear with that? So out of, start $180 a quarter, $100.84 of it should be going in the bank.
Well, in addition.
All right, everybody, here are your packets, and your package. I'm here to answer any questions that you might have, but this is the night we're making a decision, good, bad, or otherwise.
So if my motion was to, instead of 5, so I still think it's low, it would be 10, that would just increase, that would be a $40 a year increase.
Please use the microphones. Good people, please use the microphones. I would love to hear what's going on in this meeting. Please.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but I can't hear anything Ms. Bales is saying at all. And the
So-
others are tough.
So the commentary was $5, $10 would raise it $4 a year. Which the total would be double the amount, so instead of $15,000 a year additional, going into the savings, anyway. If all things be equal on what we're spending.
Motion to that.
I wanted to wait to see what Matt was thinking. He looked like he was thinking over there pretty hard and heavy, so.
Mr. Dreier, do you have commentary?
Well, gain a bond, you're gonna pay, well, find somebody else, even more money for interest to somebody else, depends where you're getting it from. We need to get closer to at least the depreciation value, because that's the number that's gonna be used to go off of, like you were saying, how much it's gonna cost. Well, that's your depreciation value, that's the number you need. Clearly, we don't want to raise, that's $100.84. So, 15 grand, that's if everything goes smoothly. On top of your 16 grand, it's 30 grand extra. That was $10 a rate. You did $20 and you get closer.
Let me clarify something for you here. We don't have the money in the bank. This fund doesn't have the money in the bank for something that would require a bond, period. If we were to have to do another rehab of the lagoon, in 2009, that was a $1.2 million project. Heaven knows what it would be now. Clearly, we don't have that money in the bank, so it's a bond, type situation. Raising it $5, $10 for the next 10 years is not going to change it. We're not putting $1 million in the bank, getting ourselves everything we do. So all we are doing with any proposed increase, whether it's $5, whether it is $10, whether it's none, whether it's 30, all we're doing is to take care of a situation where something catastrophic happens and we are rebuilding a lift station. That's all we're doing. So the whole scenario with us, the other, we're going to get a bond, period. There is nothing that this board can do in the next 10 years that's going to change that, except for good ops and maintenance that we have going on now. I will tell you, I'll tell you, and I'll tell anybody in the world, our West Lagoon had to have that rebuilt because of lack of maintenance ops, just was not even on current, period. They can say whatever they want, I was out there, that's what it was. That's not the case now. It is being voted, it is being maintained, and so are we gonna have West Lagoon, which is, the oldest lagoon out there, needs to be rebuilt, next year? No, or for that matter, in the next 30 years, no, I don't see that. Cleanouts of sludge is something more realistic. That's like a roof. It has a 25-year, 30 years, depending on how you're doing life expectancy. A lagoon, off the top of my head, but I think that the life expectancy of that is like 60 years, 70 years. That's the average life expectancy. It's underground, it's a lagoon. There's not a whole lot to go with. The only other things that we have mechanical are your valves. And, we could have a valve that goes out tomorrow in one of the lift stations or at the lagoon site, and that repair might be a $4,000, $5,000 repair. Do I want to do it? No. Do we have money in the bank to do it? Yes. If they come back and they say that the lagoon, the North Lagoon has, 80 18 feet of sludge in it, and so we need to start the process of sludge removal. It's a problem. Period.
And I understand that, but what my point was when I said that about the money that was in there and those people not paying, is now they are having to pay for those people that were using it and we're not really paying their fair share.
100%.
So if we keep everything status quo, then guess what? That's gonna keep continuing. If we don't keep building and at least building a pot, yes, it might be, a million, whatever, because everything is a ridiculous amount, but if we look across the United States and we've seen a ton of stuff that's catastrophic that we would have never thought would have happened, nobody can tell what the future is, for sure. So my thing my feeling is that people that are using it do at least now have to help pay their fair share to make sure that they maintain that system in a good system.
So I agree with that. The question is, what is that amount? And we're trying to come up with what we come up with.
And I don't think we need to do it overnight, but I think, there does have to be, again, look at what everything on a day-to-day costs us, and I understand that it makes it difficult for everybody, but we still can't not do something because of that either. I think it should be, and I hate to raise a period, but again, I feel we have to. I don't feel that is something that we can.
I think
Just stay status quo.
I just don't know how much. Gotta raise it. That's inevitable.
I make a motion to raise it by the $10.
I'll say.
Questions?
Does that go into effect as of January?
Here, so it's,
Or technically March? January, February, March?
It's always done until that's when the announcements.
however, it's the 26th. Myself, I'm more into the, well, wasn't built today. Other comments? It is a resolution, so it is a roll call vote.
Ivory,
Yes.
Bales,
Yes.
Boskee,
No.
Terry,
No.
Fountain, no. Lintz,
Yes.
Dreier,
No. Almost no.
I would agree.
All right. I don't disagree with everything Ms. Bales has said. No, I think it's just the dollar amount and, I think that would be a pretty drastic increase in one year. We have another motion.
I'll make the motion for the $5 increase for RU.
Do we have support? I'll support.
Yes.
Fountain, yes.
Yes.
Motion has passed. Moves us on to our next agenda item. Lapeer County Road Commission Road Project Agreement. You have in your packet a contract proposal from the Road Commission to replace a culvert on Stewart Road between Hadley and Waterland Drive. There is a correction. It says west of Hadley Road, that should be east of Hadley Road. So where we have a little paved section of Stewart Road, the section to the east, south on Hadley Road, would be east to head further south, continue on and get culvert just east of that intersection. I didn't have any communication with the road commission prior to that. Didn't know what they were talking about, so I went out. Normally I go out and look at these things. Anybody familiar with the area, there's a swamp both sides of the road, so for all intents and purposes, this is an equalization tube more than it is anything else. It's apparently rotted out the top, and there's a hole in the eastbound lane of Davidson Road. No comments on the road commission, on our gravel road, but they patched it with asphalt patch. And put a barricade.
It's not Davidson.
Stewart Road. I know you got comments, so.
I guess I only have comments because we do have a road committee, and unfortunately we haven't met. So to me, this should have been brought to the committee before it got brought to the whole board to be able to look at it and discuss it. So I guess I don't know when this was actually proposed for us to be able to look at. Because that was their patch looked at on 4th of July. And this is the end of July, so it's not, this isn't new. So I don't understand why this wasn't brought through to me proper channels of going through the committee before we came.
There was no discussion with me either. I would imagine the road commission dropped off or emailed a contract over, not knowing when that came or otherwise. You know, it could be patched on the 4th, and when it is, they actually send something over to us. I have no idea. They could have literally sent it last Tuesday, or they could have got it post our last meeting, just out of that agenda.
It was after the last meeting, he brought it in, said that the road, if we had another torrential rain, would probably collapse. He said he may actually do it before this meeting. So he said it was urgent to get it on the agenda. That's why I put it on the agenda.
Well, that's one of those, as opposed to like the road committee and the projects, would you consider limestone work with the road or do this ditching project? This would qualify under these other things, an emergency repair. Because there's a hole in the road. So I don't know, as when the road committee meeting, what we would discuss, it goes back to the bigger issue of my opinion as to how to spend money on roads. That being said, we budgeted for 26, budget we just proposed $125,000 for road projects. Keep in mind, right, wrong, or indifferent, we pay currently for mowing and riding and those things.
I guess I'm just saying, moving forward, if we do get this, like I said, I don't know when, I don't always go that route into having, to happen. A lot of times I go the opposite way, because there's more pavement that way. But just by chance, that was the way that I took to go into Hadley, and I see that, because I was kind of shocked to see why there was the orange and white caution, whatever, in the middle of the road, and you could tell that it had surface, repair to it, which I thought was odd, being that Stewart Road is a dirt road. So that was a little bit shocking that didn't understand that that's how we would fill it. So I guess I just am thinking that when this came, that should have been sent, since we know we have a committee, it should have been sent out right away to the committee, so that way it could have been addressed right away. And we could have looked at it and done further research with the road commission prior to today.
Okay, but again, with the committee, whatever it is, one way or the other,
Right,
we brought that, it was like, along with whether we want to spend our roads on, one way or the other, this is a emergency repair. We can still choose, do it, don't do it. From that standpoint, 6,700.
and we could call everything an emergency, like I said, it happened, this is the end of the month, so it happened over 24 days ago, that I was aware of it, that repair was done, so it can't be that big of an emergency if it's been there for almost a month.
Well, as opposed to what would come before the committee as far as, would you like to limestone? We're talking about limestoning Burma Road, we're doing a ditching project, we have that work. That's planned, next year, long-term planning, or what we're planning for.
If it's a road project, it should come to the committee, no matter what, not just for, we're paving Hadley Road, or we're paving whatever. This is a road project that's what the road committee is supposed to be doing. And even if it's an emergency situation, which I understand there's a situation where that does happen. But again, almost a month later, I don't see how we can just add everything to be an emergency.
I'm just explaining the road committee, because realistically, the road committee doesn't have any binding authority. They're not going to approve that repair 2 weeks ago or whatever. It's still coming to this 7-member board.
No, but the committee is supposed to make the suggestions and to look to see where we do want to spend that money that has been budgeted. And to go and look at the township. That's what the committee was established from to begin with.
This came in right before the packet was created, so you had it just about as long as the township was at.
Right, but I'm just saying, I think we need to talk to the road commission and let them know that we have a process.
Don't you have it?
With the road commission. Well, I sent emails. No, I didn't make it. It's not. I'm sorry, I did make comments and emails and texts that we needed to set up a meeting. And I would like that meeting to include the road commission, so we're proactive opposed to doing all these emergency things. I mean, they drive these roads all the time, so they know the aging of our infrastructure.
Everybody knows my thoughts on roads. We've spent, on average, the last year, $350,000, $450,000 a year on roads. It's not our responsibility. We're spending, all this money, and it'd be no different than the road commission offering to pay our, like, FC sewer police station. at some point, outside of this road committee thing, the townships in Lapeer County need to get together and have a discussion with the road commission as to where is this going. You know, you all know that we spend that money and then Elba Township gets the nasty grant from Lansing. As soon as we submit our budget, the next day I have an email from Lansing wanting to know why we're spending all this money on roads. And what are we gonna do about it, and, you know, please give me your plan of action. At some point, you know, the road commission, whatever they need to do for their funding, need to get their act together. We off the subject here, but, you know, we paid for the roadside mowing. I don't know about you, but I think this year's roadside mowing was horrendous. It's still, I mean, sharpen your blades or whatever, we're paying for a double pass, and then you still, they go through and get the bill. I still have complaints from residents at this intersection, I can't see. You know, when did they mow it? It was just on the, I don't know the township, but it was just on their thing that they're just now going back and, you know, like guardrails, they come up, Bullet Road, Lippincott, you can't see. Elba Road comes south, you know, they weren't done the brush axing, you can't see the turn left there. Got brush and trees.
So, what is it we're looking to do here with this?
It's a culvert repair like we do tons of them every year. They have a culvert that's failing. It's got a hole in it. They want us to pay for it.
They want us.
Cost us $6,700. Well, you know, and here's the other thing. They have employees 365 days a year, whether they're doing a township project or not. If they came to the township and said, would you buy the culvert? It's gonna cost this much. But we're paying for the road commission employees that are on the payroll, whether they're doing this project or not. Then we're, through the cost allocation, we're paying for the foreman's cell phone and the truck that he rode, and here's his percentage, that's the least, the cost of that day, operating over, gonna work it out the township, you get to pay for the truck that day. It's just gotten to be too much.
Well, they don't even know yet how much they're putting into this.
None. There is none. This is 100%. This project, we're paying for the culvert, the limestone, the wages, the equipment of the road commission employee. This is a 100%, unless we use our allocation.
I'd like to make a motion to okay, please.
I'll second.
Support, it is a contract, so it's a roll call vote.
Lintz,
Yes.
Dreier,
Yes.
Ivory,
No.
Bales,
Yes.
Boskee,
Yes.
Kelly,
Yes.
Fountain, no.
The motion is carried. I would suggest that the road committee meet at your recommendation with road commission employees, and I would go a step further than the foreman and come back with a counter offer. My opinion. Again, don't bear your responsibility, but I would be happy, if you will, the township pays for the culvert and, you know, materials and so forth, and the road commission pay for their own employees. It's not like we have the option to hire DNDS to do this.
You know, if we're not even paying for it, why would we pay for it at all? And, I mean, we have, everything in the past, sure you are not all of those.
We were the largest bidder in the county for like 6 years in a row. All right. Unless you would follow up with you want to set that up, fine, now I'm Perfect. Brings us down to public time. Anybody in the audience? For the board. Name and address and
Susan Huff, and I live in Elba Township and Metamora Township, and I want to thank the board first for being cautious with the sewer funds and managing them so well over the years. I also want to thank you for not starting $1 million savings account with our money. I prefer to keep our money in our account, and at the time that we need to invest more, then yes, we do it. So thank you for the minimum raise. And since animal control was brought up, I just have to throw in, they're looking for $316,000 to operate that for this year. That's less than $900 a day. They do more than just provide a long-term hospice for dogs. They do much, much more than that. When you consider the staff and all their operating expenses, that's a drop in the bucket. It's only a buck a day, basically, for our county residents. I talked to Stephanie King there, and she said her spays and neuters have all been paid for since she's been there by donations. She has not purchased any animal food since she's been there because the community has donated so much. We want our government in this county to provide services for us, and that's one of the services we do want provided. So thank you very much for that, and have a lovely evening.
Cool. Thank you. Next, anybody? Yes.
Lippincott Bars, 5194 Lippincott. I just want to reiterate on the LCRC project that they have going and you just voted on. And I follow the bus down, the high school bus, during the winter months, right around the corner. And they go that way down through that area. And that bus has to get the far side. This was this last winter. So the situation that you have, by no means is an emergency now, because it was an emergency then. The way that bus had to drive through that area was god-awful. You could see the kids in the bus, up and down. It was terrible. And I've seen it more than once. So it's been an emergency. But yeah, this might be something Kelly wants to bring up at the time that she does meet. Thank you.
Hi, this is my first meeting. Nice to be here. I decided to start to try and maybe participate a little bit more about what's going on here. Just one thing I'd like to say to this gentleman who said something about this is, I just haven't had an idea, this is not what I want to talk about the euthanasia and what they can do with these animals after so much time. What I know is we should establish or find a way to have foster people who, after an animal's there so long, if they can't find a home for it, it's not a biter, it's just not getting picked, or it's old, you get somebody who's a foster and they take it for a while. You know, they can't always keep that place full, but I'm very for the animal control. I have been part of that Lapeer Animal Control for 20-something years. I used to know Officer Starr. I think it's a great place. I think they do a lot for our community. So maybe I just want to tell them foster care would maybe be something you can add on to when an animal's there too long. That maybe there's somebody outside of the establishment that might take it into their home for so much more time instead of euthanasia unless it's sick or whatever. I mean, that was just an idea, foster. I just know that word from being an animal person. So that's what I want to say about that. But I have my own stuff, so I don't know when I'm supposed to talk, because I've never done this, and I'm nervous. So now what? So now what?
Don't be nervous.
So now what do I do? Now I really said foster would be cool. Maybe you could tell them that. Or, you know, I could maybe help them go say hi to them and say, maybe I could round up some people. I don't know. Could happen. But I have something else I want to talk about, but I don't know when I'm supposed to do that. You keep saying culverts, I'm over here going. Keep saying roads, I'm going, because I'm new and I live really close, and I just had a couple of issues that I wanted to pass on. Is that okay? Okay. So I live in between Genesee on Maple Leaf and Davison Road. And you guys went down there earlier this year and you patched a whole bunch of holes. Well, all those holes have popped out, they've gotten bigger. There's one that's like this big. And I go slow, that's where I live. And the people on that road, they act like they're on the expressway. And then when I get to my private road, the maple leaf that's on the left and it's dirt, that whole edge of the road is all broken off and broken up and gone, and we're getting holes there, and it's getting really bad. So when I have to turn in my own road, I turn the turn signal on in to lower, and I turn it on then, because people are ready to pass me, and they're just gonna hit me in the side, and they're mad. Everybody's in a hurry, and I'm going crazy. And it's mostly that direction I go. But I'm like almost getting hit just checking my mailbox. I don't know what the speed limit is. It should be lowered. It's insane how fast people drive there. And the road's getting really, really bad again. So I don't know what you guys are allowed to do with roads, but I just wanted you to know that it's getting scary again. So secondly, on my private road, I know that I believe, and my neighbor, Doug and Donnie Garrettson live on the other side of the culvert, as I do, as you come down the private road. So last year, Doug and the Larsons and I'm nervous, so I can't remember names. The Garrettsons, the Gregorys, the Larsons, and myself, we put over $1,000 into our road. We went 3/4 of the way up to the road, about right at the top of Garrettson's driveway, and we had findings put in, and it was asphalt findings. And it was brought in very nicely and it was so nice of Keith Mancour, who lives at the top at 531 and works in that capacity, brought it. And we paid him, and he got us a really good deal. So he brought it 3/4 of the way up the road. So then when we got to the 3/4 of the way, we said, okay, so now it's gonna be your turn, even though he's the guy who brought it. I would probably give him some more money, but the house on the other side, it's the only people I don't know on my road. They're 497. They have an entrance into their driveway, and then they have an entrance into my private road, and they have a nice little pad made there by the neighbor across the street and going across our road. So here's our road, and they put findings across here like this. So now the water's hit the road, it's going underneath that hard packed findings, and it's just ripping up, it really has a steep edge right there. So 3/4 of the way down, we had a friend come in, and our road has a grade. So the water falls off like that. From my middle neighbor up, it's a nightmare. The other day when it rained, it just looked like a river. We had 3 10-year storms this year, and I have been scared because I'm at the culvert, and after the crap happened to the people in Texas and my river got this wide, it wasn't cool and neat and sounding cute anymore. I started to get scared, and I thought, oh my God, what am I allowed to do? So I got a hold of Andy Wagner, or met Andy Wagner, and said, what am I allowed to do or not do? I want to make sure that I'm following the law. What do I do? And he said that I would do, if I got a permit, that I could put some dirt in between my house and the river, which is the two. So doesn't all this water come from, like that was saying, it's going down all these spillways, and you put a beautiful new culvert right there on Maple Leaf, and that now it really comes on down behind Stock's property, and it comes right next to my house. And I'm telling you, the river was from that wall to there wide and eating away my property. So I was wondering, what do I do, and what can be done, and how do I make these people at the top of the hill who have kids that are going down to their garage? They have a garage that's way down our private road that they use all that road. And then 531, he uses it, they're all parked at the top. And it's just a mess, and nobody wants to do the rest. You know, so I did most of it with our four neighbors all pitched in and did most of the road, and then the ones at the top are just like, not doing it. So what do I do? How do I get help to have us all be responsible for the care of our road? And I know that if that culvert goes, this man may know, if the culvert goes on my private road, who pays for it? If that culvert goes out, I can't get to my house. And I'm worried about it. Like there's a rock just hanging from these 3 rains, and I'm worried. So I wanna know, I did talk to Andy, and he gave me some ideas, but I'm willing to put my own money in right now before it fails. Because otherwise I can't get into my house. And then the man, Doug Garrettson, Doug and Donna Garrettson, they live on the end with me, so I'm on the right, they're on the left, and then there's this easement that goes way back and ends up getting Pine Tree. Well, that's like an easement, supposed to be. Well, he's got it all blocked off and, you know, like it's just his. Well, if the culvert went out, wouldn't that be how I get to my house? You have to move all the trees and all the little things he put up that says no trespassing, which I've never trespassed. I don't go on anybody's property, I stay on mine. So how do I get help? You know, I'm on a private road, and I'm the social butterfly, walk around going, help me. You know, come on, let's do it. We put over, I'm telling you, like, I think it was $1,000 on 3/4 of it, and then the rest of it is just, it's so bad that you gotta go up the road and, you know, I'm just gonna start driving on the guy's grass, because otherwise I'm gonna start bottoming out. My husband has a nice car, and he can't even probably get up the road because it's low. You know, and it's a sports car, we just leave it in the house. I mean, we can't even go anywhere. So what am I supposed to do, pay for all of it? How do I get to, I don't even know this one person's name. And then, you know, then poor, you know, the man who brought it all to us. Oh, I'm sorry.
Hold on for just a second.
The man is so nice, Keith, who brought it. What do I do, make Keith pay? He brought it to us.
We kind of confined this to 3 minutes, and we've
I have never done this, and I'm nervous about
far exceeded that. Do you have any other issues other than,
Nope.
you know, your road and those sort
No,
of
because
things?
if you're gonna fix, maybe you're gonna fix all those holes in the road falling away.
Okay, we don't answer questions in this, but give you public time, and then we'll be back to that, so. Anything else other than your road?
No, I'm done, and I was nervous, so if I said too long, I didn't have a clue.
No, you're fine.
All right.
Anybody else? Yes.
Mike Ivory, 4924 Stewart Road. Breer Road Committee, when they do come out Stewart Road, go to the other side, river goes off the blacktop, the ditch is full of, they did an awesome job draining this spring, and it's all full of sludge. So from Mike Seaver's driveway, that drains out Hartfield, or to Knott's, which is in Elba, so that drain goes on the road. It's full up to his driveway, top of the culvert, so.
Yeah, mine was.
There's a hole right in front of his culvert, and it has to go down in, and then it gets to the other side, and it bubbles up, so. If they wanna do some cleaning up their ditch that they screwed up 40 years ago when they were gonna take me to jail, because they were smarter than everybody else, they took the other tube out of the road and put it all on one side. They can come clean it out again.
Anybody else? You've already spoke.
Can I speak again real quick? I have a question that I do need an answer for. I understand that Genesee Road and 69, they're both built differently than Lippincott with the level of concrete or pavement to where it doesn't hold, Lippincott doesn't hold its own as much. Is that true? To where trucking and things like that are supposed to be using Genesee and 69? Is that not true?
I'll get to the answer thing here. Is that your question? Anybody else?
I just live on Genesee Road, and it's a hellacious road. We cut down Elba to Davidson because Genesee Road is the pits. And she's talking about the water. Our neighbors across the street, they have a virtual lake. Comes under the road. The last time we had the 4 inches of rain, we had a pond, and then under the culvert of our driveway, we had rapids. We could have surfed on it. So it's just water. You know, there's nothing we can do about the rain. I know that. But Genesee Road is, you talk about 69, there's no speed limit on Genesee Road. In fact, there's no speed limit from Oak Road in Genesee County to you hit Davison Road in Lapeer County. There's not one speed limit sign, and people use Genesee Road like a second 69.
Yeah.
We just sit on our porch and listen to the listen to the traffic, you can hear it both ways, and we sit in the middle of 5.5 acres, and it's ridiculous. But we just put up with it. I don't step to my mailbox. so there's no
Everybody's in a
cars.
hurry in the world, I just,
Anybody else? All right, I'll close public time. Now try to answer some of these. Yours, you got into Genesee Road and Lippincott are both the same. Elba Road is listed as a Class A all-weather primary road. So it is built to the standards for semis and so forth. And the reason being is that is a detour route for I-69. Should something happen, for example, crash up, they detour up Elba Road, across Davison, back on Townsend. All of those are Class A all-weather roads. Genesee Road and Elba Road are a normal county primary road, and I will agree both of them are horrendous. I guess the only other thing that I would add is that would be a road that they wouldn't come to the road or to the township for repairs. The primary, they will take care of it, but you see that they don't take care of it.
Right.
To you, ma'am, you live on a private road, so there is nothing from this township standpoint. Your private road was constructed prior to us township having.
prior to me moving there, because I've only been there. Okay.
Just answer. Prior to the township having rules and regulations that require a road maintenance agreement. If you were to construct a private road today in Elba Township, part of that would have a road maintenance agreement that would spell out all of who pays for and establish a board and all those sort of things. The only other thing you can do as far as the payment is to start, your neighbors all get together and start this board, petition the township to create a special assessment district. And if the board decides to do that, we have a few other roads that were created prior to that. So it's a funding mechanism. You pay additional on your taxes. We maintain the money. You need the money for putting gravel on your road or doing a culvert. You come to us and dip into your account. The township doesn't charge you any money in that to do that. That's all there is to that. And the problem with Hassler Creek, which for the record does not flow out of Lake Nepsi, completely separate bodies of water.
That's why that was my question.
There is no connection there. It is a Hassler Creek, so it's a natural creek that also has been designated as a county drain. And Wagner, that you spoke to, is our county drain commissioner. Any and all filling of that would be coordinated through the drain commission, but because it's also a stream, that would require permitting from Eagle Lansing. So don't start filling and get yourself in trouble without both of those people being involved in the necessary permitting.
Good to know.
Um,
I'm only talking about
Animals,
property, I'm not talking about the.
we've already dealt with one way or the other, and I'll just finish with, it's the farmers and all of your runoff from your fields that are flooding our ditches, so, I'm just gonna blame you. I'll go figure it out. That being said, I don't have any other things to come before the board, which is the agenda, so I can go to the meeting.
So who else did I talk to about the drain, drain or whatever?
That was Andy Wagner, you already talked to him, whatever.
That's supposed to go to the flood that it barely goes through, there's a waterfall on the other side.
Well aware of it.
So who do I talk to about that? Like, I don't know, I guess I'm just an oddball out because I do believe that if we don't pay to get everything fixed right, well, I think everybody should do it together, but not everybody like that.
I'm well aware of that as well, that's why these regulations come back and done that special assessment, because not everybody answers us, even for grading, so that's the only mechanism.
Well, I would do nothing with calm, get permission about with anything, so. But I'm not gonna, nothing may happen to the dirt, to the pavement, where it's all broken at the top of my road.
Well, I told the drain, or the road commissioners about that, but the whole road is fine, so.
It is, but it's so bad when they come out, you have to slow down so much, and people are so mad at us, because they drive like really fast on it, making these roads ridiculous.
They drive really fast.
All over, all
And the
over.
state Michigan, the gravel road, the connotation speed limit is 55 miles an hour on dead end, single lane gravel road. Makes no sense to me. I've been fighting in Lansing, it's one of my pet projects. I say I'm not gonna leave this office until I either die or I get bad. I have a feeling I'm gonna die first.
Well, I haven't posted a speed limit sign on my private road yet, but I'm going to. I'm gonna say trucks. You know, none of the neighbors do it, it's all the delivery trucks. It's Amazon and whatever that.
Drive 55 miles an hour on the driveways.
Well, that was interesting, why. And I came in and talked to you about, Larson's throwing the tires and stuff in the swimming.